Do it every time. Do you guys understand how bad I feel pulling everyone away from such a nice day today? I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, it's Region Weather Meteorologist Matt Wentz here with a look at your forecast. We've got a lot to talk about here as we get into spring-like weather this week. You know that always comes at a price in terms of severe weather, up and down temperatures, and boy, do we have them. And one of the things I want to talk about, I do want to talk about the severe weather threat next weekend because a lot of you, and I'm telling you, it's been more than winter storms, have messaged me or commented on other websites or other, internet-based websites that are just maybe blowing something out of proportion, or do we need to stay tuned to the forecast? So I'm going to kind of put everything into perspective for you and let you know what we're thinking in terms of the forecast, if it's a big deal or not, if it's just clickbait that you're seeing online or not. We'll chat about that. I also want to let you know there is a period of time this week that we're going to have a temperature drop, and I'm not seeing a lot of chatter about that. So we'll dive into that. That way you're prepared when that arrives. Okay. I had a great day outside today. I hope you guys did too. We had a tree that fell over the winter time. It actually went on the road, and we live on a pretty busy road. And so, city came and moved it off to the side. It was in the middle of a snowstorm, which was great. But anyway, I was outside just doing that all day, taking care of giant logs and all that. I felt like a lumberjack. It was great. So that's why, I still feel like I'm in lumberjack mode here. So there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. My goodness, it's been nice, right? We hit 48 yesterday, 57 officially at the Porter County Airport today. So we are there. We're almost there, right? And remember, just because temperatures are in the 40s and 50s, it feels 10 degrees warmer always in the sun. And so, especially this time of year into the summer months. So, it's feeling more like 50s and 60s, and we're going to warm up from there. So we'll dive into the forecast here. Let me quickly zip through our sponsors here. They keep the show for free. They are all awesome, local Northwest Indiana based. We do not do national sponsors. We do all Northwest Indiana folks. So I don't want you to kind of say, oh, Matt's going to go through the sponsors. Guys, if you need any of these services, I stand behind every single one of them. So, if you're in need of a plumber, if you're in need of an insurance claim, or you need Medicare advice, or you're looking for a new house or a new car, we've got everything for you here, okay? So FBIbuildings.com, that's the place to go if you need a new pole barn constructed, whether it be commercial or residential. They've done over 22,000 of them in the Midwest. They're amazing, FBIbuildings.com. Meals on Wheels, remember, that's our nonprofit. In Meals on Wheels, they provide nutrition to people that need it, right? And maybe people that have fallen on harder times, or, they don't have enough income to pay for groceries. My goodness. I mean, who does? It's insane how expensive groceries are. But what they do, they provide meals for $5.99 each. All right. And they'll go Monday through Friday. They can be delivered to house. One hot meal gets delivered. They have frozen meals available in 5 or 7 packs as well. And there's no age or financial requirements for this. So if you know someone in need, or if you are yourself, Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana is a place to go. The website's MOW for Meals on Wheels, NWI.org. Or you can call Melissa. She's got a phone number there, 219-756-3663. PSA, that's our public service adjusters. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. If you have an insurance claim on your property, or something happens in the house or outside, tree falls, for example, instead of calling your insurance agency, you want to go to them first. They will come out, take pictures right away. They will submit everything to your insurance company, and they'll deal with them the whole time. You don't have to do any of it. They'll get you top dollar back. They will not let your insurance company short you for anything. That's what they're great at. Publicserviceadjusting.com. TigerPlumbing.net. Those are our plumbers here in Northwest Indiana. We get 5-star reviews from them every time that people use them. And a lot of you do now. Again, if you have any plumbing needs, you need a new faucet installed, something's leaking, new toilet installed, whatever it happens to be, they'll make sure they do it right. TigerPlumbing.net. You can schedule on your phone as well, mobile. And you can take a picture of the problem. If something's leaking, send them a video. It's great. And they come out for free, which is great as well. Minogue.life. Michael Minogue is our Medicare, Medicaid, life insurance expert here in Northwest Indiana. If you are going to be enrolling in Medicare, or you will be eligible in the next 6 months, he encourages you to make an office appointment to understand your options and costs, because there's no single plan that is best for everybody. Taking the time to learn about your options gives you the opportunity to decide for yourself, and there's no obligation to act quickly. And he will sit down, and again, he'll go through everything for you. He's an expert in that. You may even already have a plan that you signed up for by phone. And maybe you don't know what your benefits are. Maybe you don't know what you have for that. Maybe you're getting too much or paying too much into that. He'll help do that as well. So again, he sits down for you and he'll analyze the problem for free. He'll no cost consultation in his office, and then you guys can make a plan together from there. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She reminds us that the winter blues are gone and the home market industry is really starting to take off, especially with rates coming down this past week. And you need to be ready to go for your new home. So she's all about getting people ready right now, getting you pre-approved, getting all your ducks in a line so that when your dream home hits the market, you are ready to go. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage is Kate Cusack, Home Loan Girl on Facebook, or you can call her anytime too. Well, I don't have her number handy, so just go to her on Facebook. There's that. She's great. She did a live shot with us a couple weeks ago in the snow. Finally, last but not least, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades. They're amazing. Just talked with Brad, the owner, this last week, and they have brand new Jeeps that are ready to go, and everything comes off the Jeep, which is crazy. It's like a Lego, and that would feel really nice when it hits 70 degrees later this week. So there's that. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. All right, let's say hi to our early birds. We've got Derek. Derek says, "Hey, Matt, what a beautiful day." Absolutely, Derek. It's been great. Mary's with us this evening. Jeff, hope you're doing well, buddy. Thanks for joining us tonight. DZ's with us on our YouTube channel. DZ, everything is great with the family. We've been so healthy the last 4 weeks. You just know something's got to give. So there's that. Derek says he's with us, but he's saying hi to Maxwell, who's with us as well. His Ladybug 12 is with us. Hello. Ann is with us as well. Hi, Ann. Gail, good evening to you. Mary's excited about the weekend. Kathy's excited for tomorrow. All right, and here we go. This is a good segue here. Debbie says, curious about what might wander into the region on Friday. That's what we're going to talk about. Deshaun, thanks for joining us on YouTube channel. I see you. And Deshaun reminds us that it's technically still winter time, which is absolutely true. So there's that. And Tom says, I got sunburned and didn't have to travel to Florida. Oh, that's awesome. And Deshaun, thanks for the weather update, 55 degrees.Ay says the bees are out and loving the warm weather. Jay, you've seen bees already? I have not seen bees. I was out all day. I didn't see anything yet. Vicky Ann is watching while the kids are playing outside. Hope you have the window open there too. And Timothy, final comment here, is so glad for the sun. So guys, thanks for taking time out of this day to join us. All right, let's get into some content, shall we? Here's the setup right now across the country. You just see it. There's a big ridge out west. See how everything goes up through Seattle and Portland, goes up into the northern tier of the country by Montana, and then it kind of curls back our way. That's the ridge of warmth that is inbound right now. It's not quite here yet. We'll be in it as we go into the daytime tomorrow. And even this little feature, see this little feature in California? See all these little like snowflake looking lines? Those are jet contrails that are crystallizing and with the cold air aloft and with the moisture. Sometimes you see the contrails, sometimes you don't. There are a lot of people that think that the government's poisoning us with the contrails. I'm one of the ones that doesn't think we're being poisoned by jet contrails, but rather we see them when the atmosphere is structured right so that they can turn into moisture, right, like clouds do. And so it's kind of interesting to see that, but that's all of them on satellite right there out towards the west. Meanwhile, here we're kind of on the outer fringe of this kind of ridge that we have out towards the west as well. So that'll be moving in. So we've got a couple things. Let's talk temperatures first. Let's talk about this ridge of warmth. So here it comes. There it is. See the big bubble of warmth out towards the desert southwest. That's been there for a while, like several weeks. But notice how it comes east. It doesn't exactly stay as a strong ridge that it is, but it'll be enough to provide us with some warm temperatures to start our week. So there's that. Couple little nuances in the forecast, which I'll dive into. There's going to be a temperature drop this week because of Cold Lake, Michigan. Okay, so we'll dive into that. But I want to fast forward real quick, and I'm not going to give you any details on this. We'll do this last. But you notice as we go on into Friday and Saturday, there's a deep area of low pressure that develops, hit of cold air behind that, and there you go. That's going to be our big storm system that we're watching that a lot of folks are talking about in terms of potential for a tornado outbreak. All right, so we'll start with the big view first, okay? This is kind of what's going to happen across the country this week. Very quiet weather for us. This frontal boundary that's up in areas of Montana right now, though, is going to slide through southern Ontario tomorrow. No, not tomorrow, Tuesday, all right? Why is that important? Well, it's going to drag a frontal boundary south, and frontal boundaries that come south this time of year, the cold air tends to win, all right? and that's going to shift the wind, and that's going to bring some colder air off the lake. I'll show you with temperatures here, but that will play a role in our forecast despite the fact it'll be dry. Okay, that's late Tuesday that we're going to have a temperature drop, and I'll show it to you. But then after that, it takes a little while to kind of bounce back, especially near the lakeshore counties. But here comes this big low pressure system. This thing's going to wall up the west. I mean, they're talking feet of snow in the mountains. We're talking heavy rain down in San Diego, LA, maybe severe weather down there, getting into the Four Corners region. The desert's going to get soaked from this. This is a big storm system coming out of the desert Southwest as we go on into Thursday. By Friday, it forms on the other side of the Rockies. These systems jump the Rockies, right? And this is going to get going, and there's going to be a big area of low pressure somewhere near Kansas. Out ahead of that, what we will develop is a strong south wind, and that wind is going to get warm temperatures back in here all the way up to the lake shore. We deal with lake cooling this time of year, but it won't be the case on Friday. And even Saturday looks fairly mild till this front goes by. But you can see all of this green on here. This is where those storms are expected to develop, and that does include us here in Northwest Indiana, okay? Once that goes by, we get a hit of cold air, unfortunately, to end next weekend. We will bounce back pretty quickly to some moderating temperatures to start next week, and then all indication is that we have some other kind of storm system by the middle of next week. And you notice there on the end, well, we're not done with winter yet. There's some more cold air coming in, and we kind of look colder as we go through the middle half and then the latter half of March. Overall, there's going to be ups and downs, obviously, but we do have kind of a colder trend to that. All right, let's talk temperatures, okay? I want to take you through that Tuesday temperature drop, and then we'll talk the warm stuff, okay? So tomorrow, real nice. All right, here are your temperatures across the Midwest. If you cannot see the numbers, I know the numbers are small. A lot of you can see them. Some of you cannot. If you have a smaller screen, maybe you're watching on mobile. It's okay. I'll take you through it. Anything in orange and yellow are in the 60s, okay? That's all you need to know. Anything in the darker orange, we're getting in the 70s. So here's tomorrow's forecast. This is the Euro, and I agree with it. I would probably go a tick or two warmer on this. I've got us in the mid-60s tomorrow. Should be a wonderful day. We'll stay dry. And then watch what happens here. Here's Tuesday, all right? Look at the temperatures near the lake, all right? And this is something on my TV broadcast we were calling out last week because this happens this time of year. We can get a warm set of days kind of ruined by the lake and by the lakes in general and colder air sinking in from Canada with just the weakest of frontal boundaries. This changes come April into May when we start the warm air starts to win out. But right now, cold air rules across the country if it wants to come in. So what I'm expecting on Tuesday is a cooler day. All right, we're going to start Tuesday morning when you're heading to work. It's going to be in the mid-40s. It's going to smell like spring again. We just had a warm Monday, right? Tuesday you'll wake up, you'll say, oh, another warm day. It's going to be great. But no, the wind is going to shift out of the north. And so our temps are likely going to hit 51, 52 in Newton and Jasper County. But I think they'll hold at 45 and then maybe even drop into the 30s, upper 30s, as we go throughout the afternoon and evening on Tuesday. Tuesday does not look like a warm day, all right? I don't know what phone apps are saying now. I know over the weekend the phone apps were saying that it was going to be a mild day on Tuesday. It's going to be a nice spring-like week. No, this is a nuance in the forecast that only local meteorologists are going to know, all right, that know Lake Michigan. And I'm telling you, this is going to be one of those days where you're like, I thought it was supposed to be warm. Well, it's not. Tuesday does not look great in terms of temperatures. We will stay dry, but look at that cooling with that strong north wind. Temps likely holding in the 30s near the lakeshore, and I'm glad the Euro's picking up on that now, whereas all the warm air just goes downstate a little ways, okay? I do think all of us get cold, especially by Tuesday evening around here, okay? Sorry. And then Wednesday, we start with that north wind, but we'll start to recover those temps. So notice Wednesday, still a boundary, but not quite as potent. There'll still be a north wind. It'll be a little bit lighter. So lakeshore communities like Gary over towards Portage, Chesterton, Michigan City, you're probably going to stay near 50 degrees, maybe even in the 40s throughout the day. Meanwhile, you go from the Borman south, or maybe US 30 south. It depends on where that boundary sets up. We're going to be back in the mid-60s, okay? So we recover for most of us on the day on Wednesday, all right? And I totally agree with that. I like the way this is all set up in terms of the modeling. And then Thursday, same thing, still a little bit of lake cooling. Even less so, this will be more towards the Wisconsin and Chicago side. So if you have travel plans Thursday to Chicago, downtown, It's going to be one of those days where Chicago's sitting at 49 degrees or 50. Meanwhile, we're up near 70 here in the region. So big difference in terms of that lake temperature versus inland temperature on Thursday, especially for the Chicago side of things as those winds start to veer. But for most of us on Thursday, we're back to the warmth, likely into the low 70s on Thursday. And then Friday, we are under the influence and a strong influence of that warm south wind that kicks in out ahead of that severe weather threat. Okay. So temperatures, I would imagine, get well into the 70s on Friday out ahead of that storm system. Okay. Saturday's kind of in between. It depends on how secondary low develops. As of right now, there's like an initial low that goes by with storms, but then there's a secondary low that tries to get going. It looks like it's going to get going further east, but we would still be out ahead of it at least early Saturday. So we'd likely make it into the 60s still, if not 70 again on Saturday. And then you could see cold airs here on Sunday. Okay. So that's kind of a walkthrough of the temps. Again, I don't want us to be caught off guard by that Tuesday cold air coming off the lake. All right. So we've got up tomorrow, down on Tuesday, and then we climb back up. And this is just kind of a look at what the temperatures are doing on the Euro this week. And I do like this forecast. It's got 60s tomorrow. I'd probably go mid 60s tomorrow. It's going 62 for Porter County Airport. Here's the cool air on Tuesday. I think that 53 is going to be hard to come by. We may hit it and then drop. But again, it's going to be on the chilly side on Tuesday. Wednesday's recovery, and then notice how we kind of peaked on Friday with the mid 70 degree air. And I'd probably put a 71 on Thursday, and I'd probably go 75-ish on Friday. Depends on when the rain hits on Friday. If it hits earlier, then obviously we don't warm up that much. And then Saturday's kind of in between as that front goes by, and then we turn cooler. And you notice the trend then towards the middle and end of the month. I mean, we've got a lot of 40s and 50s. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves with the 60s and 70s this week. It can certainly happen, but again, that's not the normal, okay, for this time of year. Our average high is sitting in the mid 40s. It's going to be in the upper 40s by the end of the week, all right, into next week. Goes up pretty quick this time of year. In fact, this is the fastest time, or the period of time of the year where our average highs are going up the quickest. And we're also gaining more daylight every single day, which is great. How about the sunset tonight, by the way? I'm so off right now. I feel like it's so early. So anyway, I know all of us are trying to get used to that schedule. And those of you with kids, which a lot of you have kids, good luck getting them to bed tonight, right? We totally forgot to like do the half hour earlier on Saturday night, 15 minutes earlier Friday night. We totally forgot. We're in big trouble tonight. Anyway, so there's that. All right, so let's take you through the severe weather threat. Let me go to the 12Z run, and we'll fast forward here. All right, so here's our severe weather threat. No, 12Z is what I wanted. Okay. So it would be, in terms of timing, here's our low pressure that we're tracking. This is moving in on Friday. As of right now, and again, timing could change on this a little bit, but as of right now, our threat here in the region would be later Friday into Friday evening, okay? And it would be with this frontal boundary. There would likely be storms that would be strong to severe that develop out towards our west, and then they would come through here Friday late evening into the overnight. All right. So timing isn't, ideal. It's not Friday afternoon, which would be when you get the biggest storms, right? But, Friday night into Saturday morning, not the best of timing. A lot of us probably will not be up during that time. All right. Then that low goes by. And as of right now, the Euro has like a secondary severe weather line developing out towards the east, and we would stay dry. So we would we would be in the dry slot of the system on Saturday. So Saturday actually wouldn't be too bad of a day if this materializes this way. This is a complex low, and I'm telling you, some things are going to change with this. Not all of it is, but some things are going to change in terms of timing and strength and how that second low develops. I don't like that there's two lows involved, because that just makes it trickier in the forecasting, because if this low's not right, then this low's not right. If this one doesn't develop, then this one's stronger, so there's a lot of things that still need to be ironed out with the storm system. But one thing's for sure, and I kind of want to answer the question that we put out there: is it fact or fiction with a severe weather event later this week? One thing's for sure: there is going to be a pretty decent outbreak somewhere in the country. Now, I know that sounds vague. It'd be in the Midwest, all right? It'd be in this region here, Iowa down towards Arkansas into the Mississippi and Tennessee valleys. Okay. The big question that I think a lot of us are asking is the severe weather going to hit us in the region? It doesn't look off the charts to me. I don't think this is something that we need to be, sending out the clickbait and saying, big severe weather threat, like stay tuned, blah, blah, blah. It's a storm threat for us. It really is. The timing to me doesn't look too conducive for like a big tornado outbreak for us locally. I think it just looks conducive for thunderstorms locally. And the other thing that could kind of throw things off would be if these storms develop and we get like a shield of rain, or we're just getting shower activity out ahead of it on Friday. That would kind of throw things off. All right. The things that I do, and I don't want to say like, but the things that do kind of say severe weather locally here in Northwest Indiana, to me, is the fact I always like to look at the position of the low. If the low is coming in with a punch to it and it's close by, then we're going to have a lot of atmospheric energy with it, right? We're in the rear or the right front quadrant of the storm system, where you get the most lift and you get the most bang for your buck in terms of the system, which is right here. And this low is close to us, and it's a strong low, says the Euro. So given that, I mean, it does tell me that we have to watch this one. And again, Friday and a Friday night is the timing on that. But then I go the other side of things, and I'm going to show this to you. Let me show you. These are a couple parameters that we're going to look at. All right, real quick. Wonder why it's doing that. It's messing up on my 12Z times. I had them all set. Anyway, this is CAPE, okay? This is convective available potential energy. This is how much juju or atmospheric energy there is to be able to produce severe weather or just thunderstorms in general. And you notice how it comes in here. This is Thursday night. This is now Friday, where we've got numbers off the chart down in Texas and Arkansas and Louisiana. And then you get kind of this little area where there's not much in Missouri. And then there's this secondary pocket, as of right now on the modeling, that exists that's out towards our west. To have severe weather, we typically want to be in the 400, 500, 600 range and then higher. All right. I mean, that's the low end of the spectrum. You get over 1,000, we're good. Okay. And so we've got numbers that are reaching that in areas of Illinois, but they don't really get to us here in the region. And that often is the case where we have big storms west and then they get here and we kind of lack the energy. So I don't really see that push into Friday night. And the big reason for that is because it's nighttime. There's no heating going on, right? We're left with the heat from the day on Friday. So that tells me, I mean, if I were a forecasting person, which I am, that would say, well, maybe we don't have a big threat Friday night. I like the position of the low. That would bring us severe weather. But in terms of the timing of this, if it stays Friday evening, Friday night, our threat would be lower than that in Illinois. Okay, and I wouldn't be screaming severe weather for us. I would say thunderstorms in the forecast. Some of them may be severe. That's kind of where we look right now. And then Saturday, we're good on that. The other thing I don't like in terms of the modeling is this right here, the dew points. All right, typically we need a dew point above 60 degrees. At least this is from experience. Typically we need a dew point above 60 degrees. 58, 59, we can do it. But we need a dew point 58, 59, 60 or higher to support good severe thunderstorms here in the region. All right. It's a given in the summertime. Our dew point's always that high. Okay. It measures how muggy it feels. But look at the dew points as we go into Friday. They never get there. They stay in the low 50s here locally. All right. And then there's a little surge right there. This is where that line of thunderstorms would be, where the modeling, at least on the Euro, has us getting into the mid 50s for dew points. To me, this does not scream huge severe weather event. Counteracting that is going to be the shear. The shear is going to be pretty high with this. There's a big area of low pressure. We're going to have a wind at the surface out of the south, wind up above us heading generally from the west behind the system. So there would be shear to counteract that. So these would be low top thunderstorms that would have a lot of shear with them. So we'll see. All right. I know that doesn't answer anything, but in terms of my thoughts on this, I'm not blown away by our severe threat Friday night. Okay. I know a lot of the stuff you're seeing online. There's a lot of videos by people that have over 1 million followers that are just kids that have learned weather, which is fine. That's fine. All right. And I'm not calling anyone out, but there's a lot out there. But there's a lot of overblown hype stuff out there because they're done with winter weather and they need clicks getting into spring. All right. I'm just going to say it. That's just how it is. But in terms of us here locally, I don't think we need to go clickbait on this yet. I think we need to keep an eye on it. And yes, there is a threat for thunderstorms Friday night. Will they be severe? I'm not too sold on it yet. I think we'll have severe weather out towards the west and we'll see how it floats in here. Okay. So that's my take on the severe weather threat Friday. Obviously, don't watch this forecast and then don't tune in or look at any content from anyone all the way until Friday. Okay. stay tuned. I'll be staying tuned as well. And obviously, we'll tweak that forecast. If there is something we need to be concerned with Friday, I will get it out there. Trust me, okay? It won't say click here and it won't have huge red stuff all over the map, although it might have some red on the map. But either way, that's, we've got time to watch this, okay? But we will have some storms around here. In my mind, that part of it would be a guarantee sometime Friday into Friday night, early Saturday morning, okay, with this front, because it's a pretty potent front that's heading through. I'm just not sold on the dew points yet. Here's the Storm Prediction Center. This is a day 6 forecast, which is very rare. And I think this is the part that has those folks on YouTube and Facebook and all these other social sites kind of freaking out about the storm system, is because the Storm Prediction Center usually doesn't do day 6 severe weather forecasts. And they are at this point saying, hey, there's likelihood there's going to be severe weather in this vicinity sometime 6 days from now, which is kind of crazy. And notice how that thread is southwest of us. And so that's kind of how I see it evolving, where we'll be tracking a lot of things in on radar, and then they'll stay storms as they get to us. But I would imagine, as of right now, that they would weaken as they move in, and we just have thunderstorms versus something crazy. Okay? All right. So that's really all I have for you. I hope that kind of helps tame the nerves a little bit in terms of, what we've got coming up this week. We'll just let this ride. And you can see how, after this moves through, we're not quite done with winter yet. So there's that. Okay, let's see. So let's talk to whoever wants to ask questions here. Let me go back through the list here. Deshaun. No, Deshaun, I'm not too sure it's going to be like that, like the storm. I know you're talking about the March 31st storm. And we can get severe weather in March. I mean, it's basically March kicks off severe weather season for us and much of the Midwest. Down in the deep South, it's any time of the year. It really is. So there's that. Yes, Heather. Thank you for answering Krista's. Krista was asking, when is the severe weather threat going to happen? Hopefully we answered that. Ann says, do you think the storms on Friday will occur during the evening commute? And that's interesting. The timing of it, we don't know yet. So there's a real good chance that they would be in and around that evening commute. All right. I am kind of highlighting the evening into the overnight right now. So there's a chance for it for sure. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. Let's see. Mark needs a heads up as to what time we're doing the broadcast. Mark, usually around this time on Sundays. I work early mornings. Like I'm up really, really early. Probably when some of you are going to bed. So I've got to get this thing out of the way early because it is my bedtime right now. So yeah, usually around this time we'll be usually in the 6 o'clock hour on Sundays, Mark. But it all depends on kids. Again, I've got 4 kids. They're all young, and they kind of determine the time of this. So there's that. Ethan says if there's an afternoon arrival on Friday, could there be severe weather? For sure, Ethan. Yeah, if this thing speeds up, we'd be dealing with better dynamics here as well. And so, yeah, that would change things. But as of right now, I see it being a little bit later than that. So there's that. Yeah, Debbie, good call. Who's left working at the Storm Prediction Center? Well, the good news, Debbie, is everyone that was working there before, with the exception of some of the probationary people, which, and a lot of, I'm not going to get into the politics of this, but a lot of people think, well, the probationary people, they're just the people that started. No, in the National Weather Service, if you get promoted to a new position, you are on probation for a year. And so a lot of the people that, obviously aren't working there anymore, well, some of them were needed. I would say most of them are needed. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how we go from here in terms of forecasting. It really is. I don't personally rely on weather services for forecasts, but they do a lot of behind the scenes stuff that helps any meteorologist do forecasts. So we'll see kind of where it goes from here. All right, Deb, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Why doesn't the high wind scatter clouds willy-nilly? Well, that's interesting, Deb. So, well, the high wind can create clouds. The jet stream forms storm systems that can bring moisture in, and the wind can often aid in cloud development. So it's not just, if it's a dry wind, if it's coming out of Canada, or it's a polar air mass, yeah, that wind can help scatter clouds out and you can get the clearing of skies. But this time of year, that wind usually is bringing in moisture from the Gulf or the Pacific. So it can actually help kind of create clouds, if that makes sense. That's not a dumb question at all. That's a good question. Maxwell says, could be a high shear, low cape setup. Yeah, Maxwell, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, we're going to have higher cape than, winter months, because we're going to have high temperatures that are getting in the 70s. we are going to have some credible dew point, but the dew point's just not off the charts for me. I haven't seen a lot of severe weather events locally where we've got dew points in the mid 50s in the springtime, and we produce, tornadoes and a ton of damaging wind events. But yeah, that shear is going to kind of counteract that, and we'll see which ones are going to win out. Vince says, "Thank you." Yes, you're welcome, Vince. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Rich, La Nina is so weak right now that I don't. I think it's going to be a La Nada, which is it's not really going to be much of a factor. So La Nina, El Nino, I don't think either of those are going to be a factor this year. I think more of a factor, Rich, is going to be the fact that we still have an ongoing drought across the Midwest. You saw over the weekend, Long Island out towards the Northeast, they're dealing with the drought and some wildfires out there. So we need to fix this drought across the plains and out towards the west. We are still technically dry here in Northwest Indiana in terms of ground moisture. Some of the reservoirs, all that stuff are still running a little below average. So we could use some good rain from this as well. So we need more systems like this going through the Midwest, Iowa, Minnesota, down towards Missouri, because if we have a drought in the plains going into summer, that's just not good. It's happened before, but it's not great, and that often breeds hot air in the plains that can come east pretty easily. Kind of like when we lay down snowpack in the winter off towards the north, that cold air slides in easier. Same thing happens in the summer with drought. If we have a big heat dome down towards the desert southwest and we've got really dry soil, that heat really comes in very easily versus, if you have a lot of moisture in the soil, and that helps to kind of cool the air. It adds humidity, but helps cool the air. So something that we need to watch for sure. Okay. Mark says, cooking at the Hobart Moose on Friday for fish fry. Oh, these fish fries are so good. Well, yeah, it certainly could. Mark, I would pay attention to the forecast. Yeah, this front is going to be arriving on Friday. It's going to be really warm on Friday. We're talking probably mid 70s at this point, and this front's going to move in with storms at some point. I have a hunch as of right now that it would be later in the evening, but that's right now. If this thing speeds up, if the slow pressure is faster, then we get a line in here earlier. But right now, on this Sunday evening, I'm thinking this thing's going to be a Friday evening and a Friday night event. Okay. That could change, though, and I will let you guys know as we go throughout the week. Yeah, Susan says, good luck getting the kids to bed. Absolutely. That's funny. JB says, according to all the basement meteorologists say the world's ending with tornadoes Thursday and Friday. I know. It's insane. I feel like I'm putting out fires, in terms of like just the craziness that is online right now. Guys, if you see something, and it's so hard not to click on it, right? Because you're like, I don't want to miss out on the world ending. Like, I want to know when it's ending. They are making so much money off of us by clicking on that stuff. And it drives me nuts because they act like they care about the meteorology. And it's like, especially if they're posting, there's so many of them that post like, we're up to 50,000 followers or we're up to 1 million followers. Like, I will never post that kind of stuff because I don't care how many followers we have, right? My job is to keep you and your family safe, all right? And I care about Northwest Indiana. I don't care about how many likes or follows we get. And there's a lot of other meteorologists that are like me, right? They don't do it for that. They do it because they have a passion to keep people safe, and they have a passion for forecasting weather like I do, right? But there are so many, and again, they're kids that are not trained with people. They don't know how to deal with people, and they have good meteorology experience, from what they've learned on YouTube and stuff like that, which can get people by. They're doing a good job in terms of this forecasting part of it. But man, the other stuff, I don't know. It just drives me nuts. It's a pet peeve of mine and a lot of meteorologists. But what are we supposed to do? We can't do anything about it. Ethan, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get a high wind warning. We could. There's going to be a lot of wind with it. Yeah, we'll have winds over 40, I would imagine, gusting out of the south. And to your point, Ethan, with high wind warning or not, it's going to get windy. But to your point, I think our temperatures could overachieve, and that's why I would probably go mid 70s on Friday for Northwest Indiana because the models tend to, when we get a really warm, windy day, if we stay dry for much of the day, we're going to get a lot warmer than what temperatures are forecasted right now. Jeff, that's really nice of you. I appreciate that. And I'm very humbled by that. Trust me. It's gotten really bad. And I just talked to someone, gosh, who was I talking to? I totally forgot who I was talking to because I'm getting old, but they're, at Penn State. Penn State's a great school for meteorology. Football, they're okay. Just kidding. But anyway, they're teaching the students now. I mean, part of the meteorology class is they all create their own social media presence, right? Their own brand and all that stuff, and they practice doing broadcasts kind of like this. They're all practicing it. And so every year there's a new whole batch of meteorologists that are coming out of school, right? They've got the great background in education, but they're coming out and everybody is doing this now. Everyone's doing broadcasts with weather maps in the background, and they're not doing it at TV stations, right? Because you don't need all that fancy stuff. But the problem is, as a viewer, as you guys, how do you sort out who's credible and who's not? I mean, you've got to watch them for months to see if they know how to forecast or not, right? There's some things you can tell off the bat, but it's going to this market's just getting so saturated in terms of online weather people that are giving forecasts, and unfortunately for the actual meteorologists in the room, they're having to tell people and explain to people why this person's forecast isn't right, and it's taken too much time out of the meteorologist's job to kind of put out the fires in terms of, no, we're not going to all die on Friday with a huge tornado coming through. It's just it's gotten crazy, and I don't mean to go on a tangent, but that's the world I'm living in, and a lot of meteorologists are living in right now. It really has changed. It's interesting. Deshaun, yeah, they've got good meteorology there as well. I mean, I like their website. I think their website's great to use. The College of Japan. I mean, you see here, I use it for a lot of things. They've got a good HER run on all that, and I'll use WeatherBell for everything else. But yeah, there's some great weather schools out there. There really are. Oh, Maxwell, thanks, buddy. Yeah, I appreciate that. Maxwell's going to get some lightning pictures if you can. All right, be safe though. Okay. And again, Maxwell, let me show you this too. I'll show all of you this real quick, and then I'll let you go here on tonight. Where does it go? Let me see. Here it is. Take a look at this. So this can, the models can kind of foresee where the lightning's going to be. And again, it changes, but you notice the trend. There looks to be a lot of electrical energy with this storm system coming in on Friday. Look at that. So it's detecting, this is how it's going to evolve. There's going to be a squall line, down in Oklahoma, Texas, into Arkansas. This is where your big severe weather threat is on Friday. But there's also going to be, with the low pressure up here, there's going to be tremendous lift in Minnesota. To me, there would be a severe weather and tornado threat with these. And then here's the line that, as of right now, the Euro is saying would be coming in. And this is lightning frequency. All right. So this is number of strikes, I want to say, in an hour. But either way, that's a lot of lightning strikes. And so there's going to be good lightning coming in. Notice how it kind of breaks up over us on the modeling. And that's what I agree with as it moves in. But interesting, right? There's going to be a lot of electrical energy for that coming in. So it is springtime, everybody. It really is. And you can tell with stuff like this. So that, yeah, Maxwell uses that all the time. Sherry, I appreciate that. I appreciate that for sure. I really do appreciate you guys taking time out of your Sunday to join me for this. I really do. All right, I'm going to let you go. You guys have a wonderful night. I hope you got something out of this. Again, I always hope that you take something away. I don't want to waste your time. All right, so if there's anything, and trust me, I'm completely open to feedback at this stage. If there's anything you'd like to see or like to see less of, let me know. You can send me a private message on Facebook. We have a contact page on our webpage. Send an email. I'll read it. Anything, constructive feedback, anything like that, or anything you're missing that maybe you would like me to cover as we go throughout these broadcasts on Sunday, just let me know. Okay? All right. You guys have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. My goodness, the weather. Don't forget it gets colder on Tuesday as that wind turns off the lake. That wind directions everything. Wednesday we recover. And then Thursday, we go back into the real warm springtime stuff. Okay? All right. Thanks to Sean. Thanks, Susan. Thanks for joining us tonight. I do appreciate you guys. All right. Talk to you soon.